We're about to go racing and those lights go out and we're away. So we're racing 10 laps the race distance here at Imatra. And it looks like IAS maybe as they go down to Huuta. Oh, it's Piers Jones from Ari Lampinen. Everyone just gingerly making their way in. There's a long way to go, of course, between now and the checkered flag. And already Piers Jones and Lampinen. Maybe IAS just watching the clutch off the line, perhaps. Just taking it easy on that TZ250. And you don't want to burn out a clutch. So easy to do on these machines. And he finds himself in third place ahead of Pavalainen. Tenstadt, the German, back in fifth place. So everyone safely away. And it's Piers Jones and Lampinen just ahead of IAS and Pavalainen. Two little breakaway groups at the front. There's a bit of a battle going on for fifth place as well between Tenstadt, Torama and Husari. But here they come down into Kona Pico. Richard Piers Jones. Ari Lampinen just gaining a little bit of ground in the chicane. You can see the taller looking 350s, of which Piers Jones is on one. Ari Lampinen is on the Honda RS 250. So Richard Piers Jones, race winner yesterday. Ari Lampinen just tucking in behind as they go through Imatranajo. That's over the railway bridge. And Lampinen all over the rear of Piers Jones. Just having to take a wide line to avoid running into the back of the British rider. And IAS and Pavalainen still very much in the picture, out in third and fourth position. Tenstadt, Torama, Husari all close together for fifth. There's a little bit of a gap back to Komu. So long way to go yet. Just coming up to complete the opening lap of 10 here at Imatra for Piers Jones. Will have his name next to P1. The temperature here at Imatra continues to rise. Now Lampinen, will he try some kind of maneuver going into turn one at Huuta? Not quite close enough, so Piers Jones. However, IAS now looking more like the form, or showing the form. And Pavalainen has just dropped off the pace in fourth position slightly. But IAS started this race in pole position. It's great watching them on the TV, but to actually hear and smell these machines, breathe them in as they go past, absolutely fantastic. I had the pleasure of that on Friday during free practice. Really amazing. So away they go then, down along the RVS Technology straight into the Kona Pico hairpin. Then they'll go through Kuman, Truca, Palavello. So here they go, still Piers Jones from Ari Lampinen. And Pavalainen's closed that gap back up. It looked as if perhaps, Lampinen looking a little bit menacing, and Lampinen is going through, and Lampinen is taking the lead if he can turn it in time. Indeed he does. So Ari Lampinen on the 250, nice and neat, goes into the lead as they go into Ovarco on lap number 2. So Lampinen leads from Piers Jones. Yeah, still in third place. Pavalainen still very close by in fourth. A little bit of a gap back to the battle for fifth place. So Lampinen leads on lap 2. What can Richard Piers Jones do about that? At the moment, not too much. Ari Lampinen, having taken the lead, is now threatening to pull away. So here they come then to complete lap 2 and begin lap 3. Ari Lampinen on the RS 250. Crosses the line first, Richard Piers Jones. And you just get a little bit sense more of the speed from the trackside camera. Shows how fast they're going. And it is still 5 guys in this. Torama's past Pavalainen. But Pavalainen did lose a little bit of ground on this section earlier on, and he might just regain that now. But Ari Lampinen already with a 1.2 second advantage. And pulling further away from Richard Pearce-Jones. So there is our top five as we look down on them, going along from RVS Technology into Kona Pico. And that's Tenstad and Husari we're just seeing further back. The battle for sixth place, the two machines together. But here is Lampinen, and he's extending that lead out in front on lap 3. One thing, okay, Richard Pearce-Jones may be second, but he'll be thinking to himself, okay, I'm the leading 350. Over the railway bridge, which has been raised. It used to be a little bit flatter. Oh, he's got taken it right out. Harry Lampinen, no need to go onto the pavement, but he's used it. So Harry Lampinen, even though he's out in the lead, continuing to push, and he's extending that advantage as well. He's now up to 2.3 seconds. No surprise that he's got the fastest lap of the race so far, 2:17.7. That will come down, I would imagine, in just a second. Richard Pearce-Jones still in second place. Ias in third, just trying to stay in touch. Torama in fourth. Pavalainen losing ground, still in fifth place. And indeed, Ari Lampinen does put in the fastest lap, 2:16.369. So Juha-Matti Husari and Stefan Tenstad still battling it out for sixth place as well. However, Husari with a little bit more air between himself and Tenstad as they go on to lap number 4. 3 seconds the advantage for Ari Lampinen. And it's easy to think, oh, this is Lampinen's race now, but just as we saw the previous 600 race with Pauli Pekkanen, it's not over until that checkered flag is waved. To finish first, you first have to finish. As they race, you can see in the background, everyday life still goes on around Imatra. Lampinen, still from Richard Pearce-Jones. Ias in third, Torama fourth, Pavalainen fifth, Husari in sixth place, and he's opening up a gap over Tenstad now, who's in seventh. Juha-Matti is still in 8th place, so a long way back. Then it's Komu in 9th and Moravare in 10th. Ari Lampinen this time a little bit neater on the exit, certainly not as wide as we saw in the previous lap. And he's just extending that lead. So now really, as we're coming up to begin lap number 5, you have to think, well, it's not so much each other they're having to compete against, it's actually getting that bike to the finish line. And we know how temperamental the two strokes can be. So even as it looks increasingly like the gaps are getting bigger between each rider on this racetrack, it does look as if perhaps it may down to be reliability now. That's their biggest competitor between here and the checkered flag. Still Ari Lampinen with the fastest time, 2:16.369. So he didn't improve. He did a 2:16.973 on that last lap. So pretty similar, just half a second slower that time around. So here's Torama. Sorry, that's Piers Jones, with ES still behind him in third place, but a little bit closer now than he has been at any other point during this race. In fact, since they started, when they were sat close to each other near the grid. But ES now, that's the smallest gap, half a second. And here comes ES up the inside, perhaps. No, he's just tucking back in. Not close enough. Richard Piers-Jones still holds second place. However, it is coming increasingly under threat from this man. So Rhino ES on the TZL 250. Trying to close in, and already Harry Lampinen is pulling away, but they've got slower traffic in front of them. So that's Kartinen, 53, just manages to stay off the racing line. Well done to Vesa Kartinen. So race leader still, Harry Lampinen, extending that gap with every lap that ticks off. So we are at halfway through the race. We're at half race distance as he comes across BMW Bavaria Lackinen. So what has ES got in terms of straight line speed? Of course, ES is on the 250, whereas Piers-Jones is on the 350. However, ES might just be able to gain some ground on the brakes as they go down into turn one. Lampinen's already through. You can see the railway line just in the distance. The great thing as well, with the more and more racing that takes place here this weekend, more and more rubber is being put down on the circuit. We've not had any rain, of course, so it will be coming super sticky. Lampinen just lifting it up onto the curb. Oh, and ES has gone through on Richard Jones. Richard Piers-Jones is now back into third place. In fact, what's going on with Richard Piers-Jones? He's now fourth. So maybe an issue for the British rider. As I said, reliability is the biggest threat to these guys. And Richard Piers-Jones, who won yesterday on the 350, I'm guessing something's terminal with that machine, and therefore he's not going to make it to the checkered flag. So that means this man is now up into second place. It is a good 6 seconds down on the race leader, Harry Lampinen. So a shame for Richard Piers-Jones, who looked fairly solid in second place. Certainly looked good for a podium finish, but however, that now is not going to happen. So Rhino ES still in second. And that obviously promotes Markku Torama on the RS250 up into third place. And he's got a good distance between himself and Pavalainen in fourth. However, what happened to Richard Piers-Jones could happen to any other rider in this race, of course. Harry Lampinen still with the fastest lap, 2:16.369. His last one was a 2:17.1. He crosses the line this time, and it's a 2:17.0. So a tenth of a second faster on this lap than he was on the previous one. ES, though, is going a little bit quicker. Still Lampinen with the fastest lap of the race, but ES has brought that gap down to 5.1 seconds. It was 8 laps, the race distance yesterday, if I remember correctly. It was a close battle for fourth, Pavalainen and Husari. Husari really has closed in on Pavalainen as this race has gone on. Pavalainen on the Maxim 350, Husari on the Honda RS 250. And still Pavalainen ahead of Husari. And Husari with good corner speed and good exit speed as well. trying to get a toe, trying to get in the slipstream of his compatriot. Let's say trying to now get out of the slipstream. You can see how warm it is, the haze on the road. And we have a change for 4th place. Asari goes through. Can he slow in time? Indeed he does. So Pavalainen back to 5th place again. So Pavalainen was in 5th place, of course. But the retirement of Richard Pearce-Jones promoted him back up to 4th, but now he finds himself back down into 5th. So Juha-Matti Husari ahead of Timo Pavalainen. Stefan Tenstad still in 6th place. The gap at the front, by the way, has come down somewhat. ES is now just 3.5 seconds behind Ari Lampinen. So either Lampinen is perhaps, as he comes through to complete another lap, whether Lampinen is just using the time that he's got in hand to his advantage, or whether the ES is up the ante. Well, Lampinen is a little bit slower that time, 2:18.3. And the fastest lap goes to Rhino ES, 2:15.6. So ES is the fastest man out there, over 1 lap distance, of course. Lampinen is still leading, but it's come down to 2.3 seconds. So ES, maybe that bike is now running as perfect as he was hoping to. At its maximum. And now Lampinen's lead is becoming increasingly under threat. So 2.5 laps to go. Lampinen with a 2.3 second lead over ES. Torama looking in a fairly solid 3rd. Husari still in 4th, just ahead of Pavalainen. But 2.3 seconds is the gap. So what will be the gap very shortly? It looks pretty similar. Lampinen is still maintaining this advantage out in front. Some traffic ahead, but it shouldn't prove too much of a problem. That'll be Moravara. Martin has just crossed the line, but here comes Ari Lampinen over Imatranajo. And it's gone out to 3.5 seconds. Back out to 3.5 seconds, maybe. Lampinen may have got a board, perhaps, and he's got the hurry up. He's just coming up on Moravara now. He should really pass him on the exit of Mitra, which in fact he's going to do. So that works out okay, and it will work out okay for ES as well. There's that battle further back between Vasari and Pavalainen. Pavalainen now just half a second further back in 5th place. He's found a second from somewhere. ES, meanwhile, has started his penultimate lap. Just 3.3 seconds behind the race leader, Ari Lampinen. Here comes the battle for the battle, I should say, for 3rd. Turama. The battle for 4th, Husari and Pavalainen. Turama's gone through. And another fastest lap of the race. This time, Ari Lampinen, 2:15.04. So he's lapping around 3 or 4 seconds faster than he was a couple of laps ago, Ari Lampinen. And you can tell because that gap now has gone out to 4.2 seconds. And as I was saying, maybe ES has that bike running as beautifully as he can. The same can now be said, of course, for Ari Lampinen. Moravara just coming into the picture, down in 9th place. Here comes Torama, still holding 3rd. Meanwhile, Lampinen, where is ES? There he is. So that gap is certainly bigger now than 4.2 as he goes through Ovarco for the penultimate time and over Imatranajo. Ari Lampinen with around 6 kilometers to go until the checkered flag. Again, takes it right out to the curb. So Ari Lampinen, yeah, 5.9 seconds. Ias looks as if he said second will do me. Ari Lampinen coming up to begin his final lap. And he'll just be praying that this machine holds together the 250 all the way to the checkered flag. Maybe perhaps Ias knows that the game is up and is perhaps nursing his machines. His times have dropped right off. He's certainly not going to make up 6 seconds on the final lap on Lampinen. So I think Ias has said, okay, second place will do me. Let's just get this baby home. Ari Lampinen, by the way, is not saying that. He's just done the fastest lap again, 2:13.053. So we've got a 6.4 second advantage going into this final lap. Here he comes in the distance, Ari Lampinen. Just got a couple of slower riders to negotiate his way past. Cartonen is going to be lapped again. So there's Lampinen. He's got time in hand. Ari Lampinen. He should pass the other rider just ahead of him as well. So Komu is going to get the Lampinen treatment on this final lap as well. So Lampinen on bike 13 as they come through Ovarco into Imatran, Kulapula, and then into, as they come out of that right-hand turn. Meanwhile, it's still on between Husari and Pavalainen. And Husari still just has 4th place from Pavalainen. They're having a right old ding-dong on this final lap. Meanwhile, Ari Lampinen, it's been a fantastic performance from him all the way, from flag to flag. So Ari Lampinen is going to be our race winner today on the final day of action here at Imatra. It's victory for Ari Lampinen.